Tell me if this brings back memories. It's 2 a.m., you're in a sleeping bag on the floor, you've eaten way too much pizza, and you're whispering with your friend about a scary movie that you definitely shouldn't have watched. For many of us, that was the classic sleepover experience. But today, many kids may never know that feeling. If you scroll on TikTok, if you scroll on Instagram, you will see many parents saying, "We are done with sleepovers." So what happened? How did we get to the death of sleepovers? Let's talk about it. Sleepovers weren't just fun. They were how we tested independence. We stayed up too late and made those silly memories we still laugh about today. But parents now, some are hitting pause. Before dropping off a sleeping bag, they're asking, is this safe? Is this worth it? It's all over the place, the sleepover debate. It feels like something that used to be automatic now comes with a whole decision-making process.
So controversial topic, but I don't want to deprive my kids of sleepovers. So can somebody stitch this and tell me how you prepare them for the sleepover? Because the other night my husband's like, you're being inappropriate because my son wanted to have a sleepover at somebody's house. It was the first time he had stayed there. But I was like, look, you don't sleep in the same bed with anybody. You need to sleep on the floor if they don't have an extra bed for you until you get to know this person better. Nobody is allowed to touch you. Nobody should be naked around you. My husband's like, you're overreacting. I'm like, I don't know what to say. What do you tell your kid?
Well, the American Academy of Pediatrics, they suggest that parents ask things like, who's home that night? Is there a pool or a trampoline? Are there guns in the house, and how are they stored? What about food allergies? Screen rules. That's a lot more to think about than just sending your kid over to a friend's house for the night. Are we overcomplicating this, or are we finally naming the things that were always there?
For the parents that don't allow sleepovers, you are the problem. Why is your mind even there? Your child's mind isn't even there. Why wouldn't you allow them to stay over? Why are you stealing or robbing experiences from their life, from their childhood? They're going to grow up to resent you because of it. I'm just kidding. That sounds absolutely crazy, right? Because it is. Who the hell? That's how people sound in my comments when I talk about sleepovers. People really think that we're neglecting our child by not allowing sleepovers. It makes no sense. I don't get why they can't play all day, and when it's time to go home, we all go home. And we can meet up tomorrow if you guys want to play again.
Parents are now doing something called sleepunders or lateovers. Kids still get the pizza, the games, the laughter, but parents pick them up before bed. Let's talk safety. Are sleepovers automatically dangerous? We're going to need some context. Drowning remains one of the top accidental causes of death for children under 4. Firearms have recently become the leading cause of death among U.S. children and teens. And trampolines? AAP warns about trampoline injuries and advises against recreational use at home without strict safety measures. I know this is a heavy topic. Navigating parenting today feels a lot like answering questions that our parents didn't even think to ask. So I'm curious, will you allow sleepovers, or are you going to stick to sleepunders? And here's the twist. Sleepovers can be really good for kids. The Child Mind Institute says that they build confidence and coping skills. Dr. Jean Barrison, a psychiatrist at Mass General, says that they help kids navigate independence. The benefits are real, and that's the tension, right? Protecting our kids while still letting them grow. I'd love to know what your family does or what your own childhood sleepover situation looked like. I'll see you soon. Bye. Whew. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Sleepovers are a topic in my household too. My 12-year-old has had many a sleepovers, but every single one of them has been at our house or at someone else's house, but I was also present, so I haven't had to navigate this. She hasn't come home with an invitation for a birthday party that ends up in a sleepover. I feel like that used to happen so often when we were kids. I mean, there was like a random classmate who would just be like, they'd send invitations to everybody. It's just a sleepover. I haven't seen that. Have you seen that? My 8-year-old, almost 8-year-old, he's reminding us every hour on the hour that he's almost 8. My almost 8-year-old, I could see him asking and getting invited to more parties because he's just a bit more of an extrovert and social. But we'll see. But you know what? I don't have to navigate that right now. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. When we are parenting, we don't have to answer all the questions right now. You don't have to know where you stand on every single issue. And if you change your mind tomorrow, then you change your mind tomorrow. So one day at a time, we're not going to worry about this right now unless we have to.